Hey everyone, it is now officially Tuesday, October 23rd. It is the day Kingdom of Ash is now released. I'm about to go get it. I'm in my car, like, ready to go. I've even got my Blissfully Bookish fandom t-shirt on. It is time. Guys, I have been waiting for this book all year. Like, all year. I'm just so excited. Let's go and get Kingdom of Ash. Alright guys, what's up? And I am officially starting the reading process for this book. So I have it right here. This is the Barnes & Noble Special Edition, and I'm about to start it. I am really excited, but extremely nervous because, I mean, like I said, this book has been everything. Like, I've been waiting on this book all year, and I'm just, like, I don't even know. I'm just so scared to start it, but I'm so excited at the same time. So, I guess this is a important time to mention spoilers. Like, if you haven't read Kingdom of Ash, I'm going to give you guys like my play-by-play reactions of it, so definitely do not watch past this point if you have not read this book. I know this book has so many big spoilers in it and so many people that are excited about reading it. Come back after you've read the book because I don't want this amazing, exciting ending to the series to be spoiled. That is my official spoiler warning. Okay, so we just read the beginning, the prince and princess section, like right before the very beginning. Oh man, it's just setting the tone for this book. It's so just brutal and tragic. It's just, it really gives you like that dark, heavy, iron feeling when you just are like starting the book, like, oh gosh, this is gonna be bad. So if I don't make it out of this reading vlog, just bury me with my Throne of Glass books. That's all I can ask for, because I really don't know how I'm gonna make it. Like, I really don't. It's gonna be crazy. From this point, at least, my theory is that she is in Doranel, because I think that, like, Maeve's capital city was, it's called, like, the City of Rivers or something like that, and it talks about her being on, like, this little island in a river. So I'm thinking she's in Doranel and Wendland. If that is not the first place that Rowan thinks to look, then shame on him, because, I mean, good lord, where, like, the most obvious place would be Doranel, which maybe Maeve didn't go to Doranel with her because she thinks that would be the obvious place, but I think it matches the descriptions, like City of Rivers, because that was mentioned in Heir of Fire. There's like the City of Rivers, and then she's like in a river on this little island with like a waterfall and stuff. Hey guys, so it is now a few hours later. I am about 100 pages into this book so far, and I have a lot of like thoughts, but I'm not sure how to explain them. Like, what I'm reading is just so brutal and so devastating. I just don't even know how to explain what I'm feeling. Everything about this book is just grim. Everyone's in a grim place. Adian is just sort of trying to keep everybody in line, military ranks and everything, and then Dorian and the witches are kind of like, well, Terrason's pretty much fucked, so let's just go find the Crochans and try and take back our land, because there ain't no hope for Aurelia anymore. And then Dorian's like trying to figure out like what to do with the word keys, and he talks to his ancestor Gavin, and Gavin is kind of a dick to him. It's like, dude, you were the crown prince of Adarlan, and you could have made all these preparations, you could have learned how to fight, you could have been like this heroic guy, instead of being this womanizer who just flounced around his father's court all the time. You know, you could have been doing something worthwhile and being prepared so that when you inherited the throne, you know, you could fight and everything. And, like, he's got a point, and his sort of belittlement of Dorian, you know, it kind of makes sense. I kind of see both sides on that, and I felt bad for Dorian a little bit. I think it's pretty funny that he's with all the witches, and so he's, like, with Manon in the 13. I think I called her Manon earlier. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth between Manon and Manon. I know it's pronounced a certain way, but, it's just funny. I mean, he's kind of like the only dude with 13 women, and they're all flirting with him because he's like the only guy there, and he's has magic that protects them. So, you know, it's kind of funny, like their dynamic, and Manon's just sort of like, you know, she's grumpy pretty much the whole time. She's grumpy. The Stygian spider shows up that Manon stole the web from for Abraxos, and I was wondering if she was going to come back. In Heir of Fire, when she knocks her off the cliff, and then, like, apparently we just assumed she died because she fell off a mountain, but we just assumed that the spider died, and I was wondering, like, did that merchant of Xandria get his youth back because the greatest warrior in the land slayed the Stygian spider that took his youth? And then we read Tower of Dawn and we realize that Falcon, well, actually I was thinking maybe it was the wrong spider, maybe it was a different one that she killed, but no, that was it. And so she comes back and I'm like, oh shit. Now, okay, on to the Aelin part, because that's what everyone is like dreading about this book, is just having to read all of the brutal torture scenes with Aelin. First of all, we learn that she's in Dornell, and you know what? I have lost my respect for Rowan because I cannot fucking believe that he did not check Dornell as a potential place to go and search for her. Like, that should have been place number one. Where else would Maeve have gone except Dornell? And it also proves my theory that the capital city that she lives in her little witch kingdom, in her fae kingdom, is surrounded by rivers, and that's exactly where the palace is. And I'm like, hello? And Rowan, like, doesn't even bother. And I cannot believe that. I'm like, dude, you go from all these different kingdoms, and you don't know where the hell she is, and she's been there the whole time, suffering, and you are just perpetuating it because you refuse to think that's an option. And then they're talking about it, and Lorcan's like, well, we would have found out by now if Maeve was back in Dornell. I'm like, really? How? How would you have known that? Elide, I don't know how to say, I call her Elide, she's like, well, it would make sense if she's back in Dornell. Oh my gosh, like, what did they bring Elide on this trip for if they're not going to listen to her? She's obviously, like, has a really good sense of intuition. She knows things because of the goddess that looks after her, and she's just, like, learned to pay attention and observe things. I'm like, you realize that she probably has a good idea of, like, what she's talking about, right? The thing is, though, that bothers me is I'm feeling like this whole, like, let's find Aelin, or are we gonna be able to save her? It feels to me like that is such a filler to, like, what else is going on with, like, the armies moving around on the continent and everything, and Dorian trying to find the word key. Then you have these idiots that are just traveling around continent to continent. I feel like it's something that Sarah wrote to basically tie up the loose end of essentially a cliffhanger from Empire of Storms. You know, not something that really has any purpose. Like, unless Aelin learns some valuable information, unless something is achieved from all of that, then I pretty much know that it was literally just a cliffhanger. It was just literally a plot twist for the sake of being a plot twist, and now she's just tying it up in this book. So that's frustrating me. Another thing that's frustrating me is that Rowan, in every book after Heir of Fire, I mean, okay, maybe a little bit in Queen of Shadows. So, at least in Empire of Storms and in this book, and I would say kind of in Queen of Shadows, he just has become kind of a mushy, soft male that just has, like, these dark, brooding, angry moments. What I liked about him in Heir of Fire was that he was this stoic, hard, you know, muscular, badass male. Like, you know, he had a very masculine presence. He was very muscular, he was very dominating, he was very, you know, commanding because he was a general, he was like a, you know, a great warrior. He had that warrior's essence to him. He was a complex character in Heir of Fire because you didn't know everything about him, but you knew that he had a wife that had died in the past. He's been in all of these wars, and he's sworn to Queen Maeve, and even though he doesn't necessarily like it, he uses it as like an outlet to get all of his anger and feelings and just sort of his need to be a warrior kind of out of him. It gives him a purpose, pretty much. And in the later books, like in Queen of Shadows and Empire of Storms, and it feels like it's going to be in this book too, he just becomes kind of this, like, herder, I have to save my Fireheart. His identity is completely absorbed by Aelin. He's Aelin's mate, he's Aelin's lover, he's Aelin's warrior, he's Aelin's this, like, he's going to save Aelin, you know, and he doesn't have an identity of his own anymore. In, like, chapter 8 or 9, it's like his inner monologue, and he's talking about how, you know, he doesn't need the tattoo on his face anymore because it had all been a lie, you know, about Lyria and everything. And I just feel like it's sort of undoing some of the things that made him mysterious and made his character have like depth and complexity, because you realize like this guy's been through some shit, you know. And then when you realize that it was all just a lie, then it's like, well, if Maeve manipulated all that, then his feelings are kind of invalidated, because it wasn't really his fault, or wasn't really under his control. It was just something Maeve did. And so, you know, it just almost like he doesn't need it. He doesn't need that pain to grow from. And it just feels like his character has been disassembled and has become more flat and more two-dimensional. Not like totally two-dimensional, but definitely it feels like he lacks depth and purpose beyond just like being Aylin's accessory. And I don't know, that just frustrates me, because I like his character a lot. He's been kind of like a literary role model for me. I mean, I'd love to be a muscular, long-haired Fae Prince, but, you know, it's just like, I just don't like what they've done with his character. The other characters do have that, though. Like, not Rowan. Rowan just seems to have his entire person, like his entire like self, his likeness, his character has just become absorbed into Aylin's character. Hey, now let's talk about Aylin and all of her chapters that I've read so far. It's heartbreaking, and just reading what she's going through is so... It's really, really rough. It's hard to read. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's hard to read. I feel kind of bad for bringing this up, you know, because I don't want to really include topics of this nature, like, on my channel. The way that Sarah is writing all of Aylin's scenes with, like, just the torture and the interrogating and everything. I mean, I get that it's supposed to be humiliating and manipulative, but I feel like she's writing torture porn, basically. And YouTube captions, I hope you don't catch that. But it does. It feels like it's torture porn. Because, like, if you read some of the chapters, first of all, she's, like, chained down on like, a stone table. So she's, like, laying, like, on something. And what wasn't covered in iron was clad in a sleeveless white shift that fell to mid-thigh. So she's, like, barely wearing any clothes, and she's chained down, and it was talking about... And then Cairn, the guy that pretty much torments her, you know, he's enjoying this because he's got this beautiful young woman, and he's basically able to pretty much do whatever he wants to her. Like, chapter 3, it says, if it wasn't for Maeve's gag order, the male mused, surveying her body like a painter assessing an empty canvas, I'd put my own teeth in you. Dread coiled in her gut. She'd seen the evidence of what their long hours had summoned from him. Her fingers curled, scraping the stone as if it were Cairn's face. So, clearly he's enjoying this in certain ways. And I just, like... It's not that it's not something that I feel like could be included in a fantasy book, and I definitely do not consider this book or most of the series like officially young adult, because they are way more oriented towards like new adult. All the characters in these books are like 18, 19, 20, 21, like they're all in their 20s. It's just weird like reading it, you know what I mean? Like just reading what Sarah wrote that Aylin's going through, and just kind of recognizing there is some sort of weird sexual tension in it. It's just disturbing. Sarah had to think of all this stuff to write down. It's just, I don't know, it's not something I necessarily was expecting to read going through this book, you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking we would focus a lot more on, like, Rowan. I didn't think we would get a lot of POV from Aylin until they save her. I just feel like a lot of that could easily take your mind places that didn't necessarily want to think about, and that's all I'm saying. So just in conclusion, it's really brutal. Like, that's the best word I can use to describe it. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the first 100 pages, so I'm gonna keep reading. I have like the whole night and all of tomorrow, so I'm going to just read as much as I can this weekend, but I do want to take my time with it. I want to enjoy it because it's the very last book. I will never again get to read another Throne of Glass book for the first time, so I really want to take my time and enjoy this book as much as I can. So, yeah, those are my thoughts, and I'll update you guys soon when I get to another stopping point. I am super excited because the character from the first Throne of Glass book has returned. We have the return of Nox, and I am so excited because everyone was theorizing that he was going to return. Everyone said that he might come back because he was from Terrasen, and here he is. He is back, and I'm just super excited. So I just wanted to throw this out there because I just was like, yes, this is awesome. I was like, I don't know, I felt excited for it, and so Yeah, I was just super excited that he comes back and he's this messenger for Darrow. Darrow's kind of an asshole. We met him in Empire of Storms, and he's like one of the lords of Terrasen, and he doesn't really acknowledge Aelin as like the queen. Wise in what he understands that he needs to play a careful game of politics to keep everything in order, but he is also a little power hungry and doesn't really want to relinquish his power because, you know, he is this old, weathered lord who has seen, you know, all the shit that's gone down with Adarlan for, like, the last 10 years. And so he's hesitant to just, like, hand over the keys to a 19-year-old girl who's going to be the queen and just rule the kingdom. He's like, wait a minute, you're not a politician. You haven't grown up learning how to be a politician. Like, no, I'm not just giving you the kingdom. So it does make sense, but he's also kind of a dick. So he's, like, not a nice lord. So there was a chapter where we're back with Aelin, and she, like, loses it, like, something snaps in her, and she starts pounding the iron coffin, and, like, makes a dent in it and everything, and that was really cool. It was, like, a good, like, powerful moment for her, and, yeah, I mean, I just feel real terrible about, you know, what she has to go through, and just, like, that form of imprisonment she's basically in, but I think since Rowan and his cadre of idiots are, like, completely clueless, if they're not going to save her in time, she might as well have to save herself. Rowan did actually, like, sense the pounding in his fist. Like, he could sense, like, through his mating bond with her that she was out there, she was alive, so they know that she's in Doranel now, and so now they're, like, planning on how to draw Maeve out, but, like, it's just, I still can't get over the fact that he did not think about checking there first. Like, why? Did he just go in circles? I mean, I can't get over it, guys. So I'm on chapter 18 of the book so far, and this is a chapter where Chaol and Yrene go back to his home city of Anil to, like, warn his father about Morath and everything, and this reminds me so much of, like, the scene from Lord of the Rings, the Steward of Gondor, and he's, like, refusing to call for aid for help. Chaol's trying to convince his father, like, Morath soldiers are coming for you, they're marching on this city, you know, you gotta prepare everything, and he's just like, I will not bow to this ranger. I think it's funny. It reminds me a lot of that. There's a lot of things in this series that remind me of that. I love how Yrene, she knows the history of Chaol and his father, and she knows that he's cruel, so she's going in there with him, and, like, she sticks up for Chaol, and it's so cute. And then his father is like, I think I like you better than the assassin. But, like, getting to the scene, like, where Aelin actually, like, makes her escape, Rowan and Lorcan and Gavriel are all there, like, fighting and everything in the camp. First of all, Elide is, like, an invaluable person. I cannot believe, like, how clever this girl is. I do feel like she kind of got lucky when she meets Asar, and the two of them, like, talk about where Aelin's being kept and everything, and so they, like, make their plan around that. That felt, like, way too lucky. Like, that was such a huge plot convenience. Like, oh yeah, of course, there's someone in Doranel that would be able to help them. But, like, it frustrates me that this whole escape thing accomplished absolutely nothing. Rowan didn't do anything. Rowan sent Elide into Doranel, and she got all this information. Then they made their plan. Then they went in and attacked, and, like, didn't even rescue her. You know, she got out. She escaped. And I just feel like that's so annoying. Like, can Rowan can he have, like, just one moment where he can be the hero? He's just a dumb idiot who just went slashing through a whole, like, war camp and then doesn't even find her. You know, like, that just drives me crazy. And then afterwards, he's, like, super soft with her and, like, making sure she's okay and everything. I'm like, dude, you didn't save her. You know, she got out. And then you have to give credit to Fenris, because Fenris, dude, he attacked Cairn viciously because he's, like, this huge wolf, and he attacks him, and then he's, like, on the verge of death, and because he breaks the blood oath with Maeve. I was, like, cheering. I was so excited when I was reading that. That was so awesome. He breaks the blood oath with Maeve just through, like, fierce defiance. Just like he cares for Aelin so much. He was not going to let her get hurt anymore. He breaks free of the Blood Oath. That was amazing. That was an awesome scene where he's like almost dying. He's like about to die, and Aelin makes him swear the Blood Oath to her, and that saves his life. And I just love that. It is so sweet because Fenris has been nothing but sweet to her. He's been there for her. He's been her companion pretty much in all of this torment. Every person that's taken the Blood Oath to her has done it out of love, whereas Maeve did it out of like fear and obedience and like domination. Aelin does it out of love and friendship, and I think that affects how the Blood Oath like controls the people that swear it. Back to my point, there are some contradictory descriptions in this book that are a little frustrating with Aelin. So Aelin's been locked up and chained for, you know, however many months, and yet she is still able to like fight off Cairn and then fight all of these Fae warriors that are trying to stop her as she's escaping the camp. And everyone's like, well, yeah, she's an assassin, but like, she's not an assassin in her prime. She's been locked up in a box for 4 months or 3 months or whatever it was. Like, that will, and then of course all of the, you know, just like torture. The reality is they're just not going to be like in their prime and be able to fight off all these people. And she does that with her hands chained with a fire poker, and she's fighting Fae warriors that have centuries of training, because Rowan says he even trained some of these people. She's this thin, malnourished person that has a fire poker and chains and a mask on, and she's taking them out. To me, it just feels so like not realistic and continuity with the story. Like, she's able to do all of that, but yet she's constantly being noted as being like thin, you know, malnourished. Her muscles are weak, but like then the healers are preventing her muscles from atrophying, which basically means like it keeps her muscles from shrinking due to, you know, malnourishment and lack of physical activity and stuff. It's what happens to astronauts in space. And so she's able to have muscles, but like she's in like mal health, like she's not in good condition, like health wise and nutrition wise. Like, which is it? It talks about how she's able to fight all these guys and then she can barely make it up a hill. I'm just like, okay, what is it? Like, make up your mind in what state of condition Aelin is in. That just sort of bothered me, that in like one moment she was kick-ass and the next moment she can barely walk. Like, that just feels like the continuity is not good there. And the fact that Aelin escaped also kind of bothers me, just because she like chose to go with Maeve. She did it to save Elide, and she chose to basically go as Maeve's prisoner so that her court would be saved and so that Elide would be saved and that, you know, Terrasen would have a fighting chance. I just feel like all of this like, you know, noble sacrifice just to end up like escaping feels so shallow. Like, it just feels like it invalidated everything. Now, I mean, I get it. Like, if you were in that situation, I totally understand wanting to just run and escape the first chance you get. I mean, that's obvious. Like, of course you would want to escape that if you could. But it just feels so, like, it just feels like it undoes her sacrifice. You know, like, she sacrificed herself to save her court only for her to escape, not for her court to come save her, but only so that she had a chance where she could escape and then gets away and then meets back up with her court. I just feel like this whole, like, Aelin being captured and then tormented and then being rescued is just a typical bullshit YA plot that has no, like, real reason to be in it other than it was a quick cliffhanger for a filler novel in the Throne of Glass series, and then it just needs to be tied up into this final book. That's pretty much what it feels like. Unless they accomplish something major, that's what I say it is. It's just filler. And that just frustrates me so much that there's no intentionality behind it. Last thing I'm going to say in this little mini rant is how the whole, like, escape sequence reminded me so much of A Court of Wings and Ruin. Now, spoiler alert for A Court of Wings and Ruin. In Akawar, Feyre leaves the Spring Court. Lucien fights the Hybern twins to help her escape. It buys her a chance at escaping, buys her some time. She escapes, and then she and Lucien are like running through the Winter Court, and they get picked up by Cassian and Azriel. They find them, they land, and they fight off the bad guys, and then they rescue Lucien and Feyre. and Rhys does not find Feyre. Like, it's actually Cassian that finds Feyre. Then in A Kingdom of Ash here, Fenris buys her time to escape. Aelin escapes, and then Lorcan and Gavriel find her and get her to safety before Rowan meets up with them. So it feels very, very similar to ACOWAR in that sense. Like, that scene reminded me so much of ACOWAR. Kind of worried, like, what else is similar? Alright, update for you guys. I am reading the funniest chapter right now. I'm on chapter 55, and it's about Dorian, like, mastering his shape-shifting, and he transforms into a Crochan witch, and it's just talking about, like, how he feels in a female body. There was the matter of his breasts, which he'd never imagined to be so cumbersome. A few subtle pats between his legs had told him enough about the changes there. Thought he'd known everything about the female body, how to make a woman purr with pleasure. He was half tempted to find a tent and learn firsthand what things were. So close to being like halfway through. I think about 20 more pages and I will be officially halfway through the book. It's been a couple days since I had a chance to pick it up. I've been super busy, so I'm finally getting back into it. Oh my gosh. I just finished reading chapter 56, where Manon fights her grandmother and the other two witch matrons, like a 3-on-1 fight. I was freaking out. It was amazing, because I knew that they were going to have like a rematch, you know, because I knew that was unfinished when she escaped her grandmother the first time. So that was awesome. And then she steals the crown and puts it on her head, and it lights up, and like she becomes the Crochan Queen. She and Dorian's chapters were getting a little boring. I liked reading them at first, they were cool, but then they just started feeling repetitive. Debating with the Crochan witches, fighting with Dorian, sleeping with Dorian, it just sort of got like, meh, whatever. But then this really picked it back up, and now I'm like, yes, I like this a lot. I just can't get enough of this book. Like, I was complaining earlier about like how I didn't like some of the tropes and just some of the things going on in this book, but I'm also taking a step back and thinking about it too, and remembering that this is the final Throne of Glass book, and I intend to enjoy every damn chapter of it, even if it's boring and, like, drawling and just page after page. It's the last time we're ever going to see these characters. Now, I'm on page 425, and Aelin is just pouring her heart out to Rowan. Like, this is the moment where, because she's been in shock for a lot of this book since they got her out. Anyway, so she finally pours out her heart to Rowan, and she's just like, I wanted to die by the end. Aelin let out a sob that cracked something in him. I can't feel myself anymore. It's like she snuffed it out, ripped me from it. She and Cairn and everything they did to me. She gulped down air, and Rowan wrapped her in his arms and pulled her onto his lap. I'm so tired, she wept. I'm so tired, Rowan. Oh my gosh, it's killing me. It's so sad. So, Yrene is totally pregnant. Like, that's confirmed now. We were kind of suspicious about it, but now it's confirmed, like, she is pregnant. I had this thought when I read Tower of Dawn, and now I'm a little like, oh gosh, what's gonna happen? The stakes are really high now that she's pregnant. Neither of them can die, because if one dies, so does the other. So oh man, if I were them, I would just like go find a castle somewhere safe and just stay there in a little protective bubble. When Lysandra shifts, it keeps noting that when she shifts from her animal or whatever form she takes back into her human form, that she's always like naked. I'm kind of thinking like, wait a minute, I don't remember that happening in the other books. Like in Queen of Shadows and in Empire of Storms, I don't remember that. Well, I actually do remember that happening in Empire of Storms, because Aedion carries her off the beach, but like Queen of Shadows, I don't remember her doing that. I think that's like the only time in Empire of Storms that I actually remembered after she turned into the Sea Dragon. I remember that, but like before that, I don't. Now all of a sudden she loses her clothes every time she shifts. It feels like some miscontinuity to me, because I don't remember that ever being like a thing that happened in the other books. And her uncle Falcon doesn't do that either, because when he shifts, it doesn't seem to note that he's naked when he shifts back into his form, in his human form. And it talks about how Lysandra has like sped up healing because she's a shapeshifter, and I also don't remember that being part of it either, because she's not a fae, so I don't really know why she has healing power, or like ability to heal really fast, because I think it was Gavriel that was trying to heal her when she recovered from being the Sea Dragon, and it like took all her energy out. So why she has like regenerative powers so that she doesn't die, no idea. Also, I am now further on into the book where they're at the end of the battle for Eniel and Eli went out and rescued Lorcan from the battlefield. And it's so great to see them finally making up. You know, she realizes, you know what, I've been really mad at him, and rightfully so, but, like, she's been mad at him. She said, you know, it's time to get over it. He tried to make things right, and we've got Aelin back, and now they seem to be fine. They're kissing and making out. I love the two of them together. They're so sweet. So now I'm on page 561. Glynis says, light the flame of war, Queen of Witches, and rally your hosts. And so they do this whole, like, lighting of the Olympic torch thing and lighting all the hearths of the witch clans. And it reminds me so much of the scene in Lord of the Rings in Return of the King when they light the beacons of Minas Tirith. Gondor calls for aid, because it just goes and it goes like through this montage of where the witches travel from hearth to hearth across the continent and just start lighting all the hearth, whatever. They start going from like all the different villages and towns across all the countries and in the continent and just lighting all of the torches to rally, you know, the entire clan of Crochans. Just so cool. And they go, fly, fly, fly. They shouted, to the queen, to war. And it's just, it's cool. I am not okay right now. Oh my God. I am seriously like, I have like tears welling up in my eyes. I am not okay, guys. Holy shit. The 13. The 13. Oh my gosh. So we're in the battle at the 13. They sacrificed themselves. Oh my goodness. And gee, oh, it's so sad. Astrid finally takes out her Manon's grandmother, and the 13, they all yield. They all do the yielding. I was literally reading this whole chapter with my mouth just gaping open, like that. Like, I'm not kidding. That's exactly what I was doing. I was so scared that Abraxos was gonna die at first, and I was like, oh no, this is not happening. This is not happening. Astrid says, live, Manon, and then kisses her on her brow and whispers, live, bring our people home. And it's just like, no, this is so bad. I'm on page 752, which is chapter 90 right now. This book is giving me the worst time. I don't know what to do. You know, now Manon only has the Crochans. She doesn't have her 13. And I know they weren't like major characters, but they grew on you. Oh, no. This is so bad. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, well, I gotta keep reading because I cannot put this book down right now. So I'm gonna try and finish it today or tomorrow. Because I'm just at this point where, like, it's getting to the point of no return where you just, it's so much is happening so fast you cannot stop because you just gotta finish it. And now we're at the next, like, section where the chapters switch. And Chaol is reunited with Dorian. Oh, this is such a sweet, like, bromance scene. I love their bromance. There's just, you know, that brotherly relationship the two of them have. It's really great. I love reading that in books and just seeing really good, strong male friendships. It's really great. They're finally reunited. It took all of this book and all of Tower of Dawn and Empire Star. It's been, like, 3 books since the two of them have been together with each other. So it's really great that they're back. They're back together. So sweet. So I want to take a moment and point out another contradictory description that is bothering me about this book. I feel like Sarah has written a lot of dialogue just for the convenient context of which it currently takes place in. Because right here it says on page 768, I held on for this purpose, so I can put the keys back in the gate. When Karen ripped me apart, when Maeve tore everything away from me, I knew it was only remembering that this task relied upon my survival that kept me from breaking. At the very beginning of this book, it talks about how, you know, she gave up her life. She sacrificed herself to being Maeve's prisoner so that the others might live, that Terrasen might have a chance, and that Dorian might find the other keys and forge the lock for himself. So she willingly sacrificed herself to Maeve so that the rest of this could all play out. And now here she is, escaping on her own. That is not what kept her from breaking. What kept her from breaking was just burying herself in her power and, you know, thinking about Rowan, thinking about her kingdom. That's what kept her going. Her mother saying, you do not yield. That's what kept her going. And it just drives me crazy. I don't like the, you know, the chosen one who has this burden that no one else understands and no one else can bear in literature, especially in YA, where it just becomes so dreary and pointless and cliche. Because it is. The thing I liked about the ACOTAR series is that Feyre is very proactive. She does things of her own accord. She united the courts of Prythian to fight against Hybern because she loved her family and she loved her home. She did that. There was no chosen powers that be that decided things for her. And I know there was the whole supernatural thing with, like, the cauldron. I just feel like this stupid chosen one cliche is so futile. And it's also frustrating me because I obviously don't want Aelin to die. One thing I do like, though, is that they are about to, like, open the word gate and try to, like, forge the lock. And they're doing it in Endovier, which I just love the irony. And Sarah did that on purpose, of course. But I like that. That's a very cool, like, irony. I like that symbolism of, like, the place where everything begun, where the first book started, you know, the symbol of basically her torment, and that place, and that's where they go to forge the lock. I really like that. It's a good symbolism. Even though I've been a little critical over the writing in this book, that is a really good moment. I like that a lot. And I'm afraid of Aelin being the basic bitch YA cliche, where she decides at the last moment, no, Dorian can't be part of it. I won't let him sacrifice himself, and just gives her entire self to it before Dorian has a chance to do anything. I feel like that's what's going to happen because Aelin is just being that way. I'm kind of scared. Like, no, Aelin, do this. Follow the plan. It would work. It'll work. Oh my god, guys. It's Rhys and Feyre. Literally clapped my hands. First, I thought they were going to mention the Night Court at some point. I knew these worlds were, like, somehow part of the multiverse. The winged male, beautiful beyond reason, snapped his head toward her. As she arced across his starry sky, he lifted a hand as if in greeting. Dude, so he and Feyre, who are pregnant now, that sounds like they're watching Starfall, the summer solstice. They're watching the Starfall in Velaris, and they see her course. Oh my god, guys. This is too much. This is too much for me. I'm losing it here. He saves her. Rhysand blasts dark power out and, like, slows her, I guess, descent into all the worlds. This is, like, definitely the coolest moment so far. I knew at some point we were gonna get a connection between these two worlds because Sarah said they take place in the same, like, universe. They're just not in the same, like, actual world itself. I knew we were gonna get this, guys, and I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. I can't believe it. Now I can't wait to read her next ACOTAR book and see if, like, this reference is in that book. That would be so cool. I really love this scene where Aedion and Lysandra are about to just give in. They're about to just make their final stand before Morath takes them and just slaughters everybody. And then there's a horn on the horizon, and all of the Khagan's army comes lining up, and leading the army, riding on a white stag, is Aelin. And oh, it's so cool. Just, like, the symbolism, you know, the stag, the Lord of the North, you know, is, like, the symbol of Terrasen. That's pretty awesome. No, Gavriel just died. He had, like, one moment with Aedion. Like, the two of them together were, like, there for 1/2 a second, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna fight together. And then he just, like, walks off and seals the city gate for him. This is awful. Gavriel was part of the cadre. I liked Gavriel. He was awesome. And now, you know, he had, like, one single moment with his son, and that was it. And now he's dead. No. I am so pissed at this book. No. I liked him so... I can't believe it. So now we've got the 13 are gone, and Gavriel's gone. That's, like, 2 major characters that have fallen. Oh, I'm so scared of who's gonna fall next, if anyone else falls. Oh gosh. One of the best moments of dialogue so far. Maeve's like, there are no gods to help you now, Aelin Galathynius. And Aelin just smiles and says, I am a god. That is so awesome. So epic. Such an Aelin moment. I was kind of pissed at Aelin at first for going out there, because when it says that the gates close behind her and she's, like, out there and all of her friends, everybody are left inside, I'm like, really, Aelin, why do you keep doing this? Well, it frustrates me, but it still ends up leading to good moments like this. So they just got rid of Erewhon. They just completely wrecked him. He is done. He's out of the picture, hopefully. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. I'm almost a little skeptical because it felt almost too easy. Even though it's probably, like, an exhausting strain on Yrene, it just felt really, really easy. This is a Valg King. Like, I would expect he might have been harder to heal. I don't know. But either way, I'm happy he's gone. Dorian gets his father's name, and his father's name was Dorian, and that's how he got his name. That was a really sweet moment. I really liked that. It was a very touching and something that just made sense. The only thing that I might have wondered is, in the end, Erewhon kind of acted like a punk. Yeah, I know he's kind of arrogant. It just felt kind of reckless, you know? Just sort of like one of those moments where, like, you'd think the biggest baddie in the whole series, who's tormented these characters for 3 books, I just feel like that's, like, oh, okay. But either way, I loved that scene. I loved how they got rid of him. And I'm glad they got rid of him, so now it's just Aelin and Maeve. I want Maeve to fucking burn. Don't care about Erewhon. I want Maeve to fucking suffer for all the things that she's done. She did it, guys. She killed Maeve. Maeve begs him to spare her, begs him, I'll go to any world you banish me to. And Aelin taunts her. This is why I love Aelin. Aelin taunts her, like, any world you'll go to, you know? And she's like, yes. And she's like, then you can go to hell. Such a brutal end to the worst character in this entire series. Then all of the Valg army just kind of goes down, like Phantom Menace style. They just sort of shut down, and they all die. And the witches flee. And at last, victory! Hey guys, I finally finished the book. Now that I have finished it, I want to give like a brief overview of just all my thoughts, kind of a conclusion. I won't keep it too long because I know this vlog is already so long. And sorry if my voice sounds super raspy. I've just been sick like the last week that I've been trying to finish this. I just can't believe that this series is finally over. The final battle was super intense, and I kind of wish that Aelin had been able to have like a huge showdown with Erewhon and Maeve and just all of her might and her Firebringer powers. I like that she wasn't like the only person to have like a victory, because we had Yrene take out Erewhon, and then Aelin and her cadre all together took out Maeve. And I really like that, because this is a war, it's a group effort. It's not just like this one person who's the chosen one that has to win everything. And that's something that really bothers me about a lot of series. It's just like that chosen one trope. And I really liked how they got rid of Maeve, and that it was the whole cadre, because all of them had been affected by her. They've all been damaged and hurt by Maeve. With Erewhon, I guess it did make it more personal for Dorian and Yrene to take him out, because Erewhon really affected Dorian, Yrene, Chaol, and the Cognan and all of them like more than Aelin. So I think that just makes it pretty fitting. So I really loved that, and I loved that Dorian's father, his name was Dorian. That was such a sweet moment. Like through all of the books, his name was always just the King of Adarlan, and I always wondered, why does he not have an official name? Why is he not King whatever? Like, he's always just the King of Adarlan. And so to find out that his name was actually Dorian all along, and the one time that he remembered it during his enslavement from Erewhon was when he held Dorian in his arms. That was such a sweet, beautiful father moment, and I really loved that. And just the fact that he showed up and helped Aelin with the lock. I was so sad when all of the characters were parting ways and saying goodbye to each other, and especially when it got to Aelin saying goodbye to Chaol and Dorian. I won't lie, like, I was pretty much crying, like, that whole scene. It was so sad and bittersweet, really, because, you know, it's great. Everyone has their kingdom now, but, like, it was still, you know, they were the original 3, and so it's really sad to see them all kind of go their own way. And I loved the coronation. That was beautiful. And how at the end, the King's Flame starts blooming all over Terrasen. That was also really, really pretty. It was a nice touch. I can't believe it's over. I'm so sad, but I also am happy. Like, this has just been my favorite series. I was very critical of it, like, in my review. Like, I'm watching back of the vlog, and I was, like, criticizing a lot of things. But don't let that make you think that I didn't like it. I'm just giving you like my reaction in the moment and giving you some of my thoughts. And of course, no series and no book is without its flaws and without its things that you don't like and some things that you really like. And this book, along with the entire series, has things that I just didn't like, but it also had some things that I really, really loved. And overall, my opinion on this book and the series was really, really good. I loved it. I don't really know how to explain just how much this series means to me and how much I love it. I don't just fanboy about it on my channel all the time just to do that. Like, this series has some very deep personal meaning to me, and it's just been with me through some shit. And I'm so looking forward to the World of Throne of Glass that's going to come out next year, and I'm looking forward to Sarah's other books like the next ACOTAR and Crescent City. Thank you guys for watching this reading vlog. I know it's been super long. It's almost an hour long, and I know that's a long time to ask someone to sit down and watch a video, but if you made it all the way to the end, you rock. Thank you so much. Give yourself a pat on the back, and maybe give this video a like. And I will see you guys really soon in another new video. Until then, goodbye.